So Carmelo Anthony finally somewhat admitted what we all knew, and it is that he should probably come off the bench in order to not only be a part of a winning team, but advance his own career by taking a step back. And this is how they celebrate being on the bench.
Awesome.
This is so awesome.
B-roll, I love it.
So James Harden, the MVP on the left.
It's the difference between a guy who starts and a guy who comes off the bench in illustrated form.
This is the difference between an MVP and Sixth Man of the Year. So before we even jump into it, I noticed something. Lady Gaga was wearing this via Kyle Buchanan on Twitter. And it was like a really big suit, right? And then that sparked my memory that she actually looks like none other than Carmelo Anthony.
I was thinking of Tom Hanks from Big when he went back to being a kid and was walking home. Sorry, it's an old reference for you.
No, it is not. It is not. I love Big. Do you remember the name of the game that he played?
The Sultan Says?
Almost. Does anyone remember? Guarantee Bart does. And then we're going to get to Carmelo Anthony, I promise.
It's Zoltar.
Zoltar.
Yeah.
All righty. So here's a unique approach via Scott Kushner. Bet he rolls J's. Never seen the sixth man listed on the front of the page of the game notes next to the starters. At the bottom, sixth man, Carmelo Anthony. In your opinion, is this a job done to be like, he's the first one off the bench, he's our best bench player, we're gonna give him a title?
I just talked about previously about the Giants and the ownership and them having to back up Odell Beckham, even though you know, he has things that he's butting heads with you about. But you know what? You have a Carmelo Anthony who is a lifelong starter who believes he should always be a starter. And if you have him on your team, accommodate him a little bit. This is fine.
This is accommodating.
It's fine.
Yes, I agree. So Rachel Nichols interviewed him via ESPN. You did say in Oklahoma City last year publicly at a press conference, I do not want to come off the bench. This is not something I'm interested in. Has that changed? Carmelo then said, well, I don't think that would never change. I know what I can bring, and I know what I still can do and what I still have. So my confidence from that standpoint, yeah, I always have to say I don't want to come off the bench. I'll go further in a second. Do you agree with that?
With his statement?
Yes.
Sure. That's what I've always said. You're a professional athlete. You should always, the guy that doesn't play, and if I'm on an NBA roster and I go home and to see my boys from back home, I'm be like, hey, listen, I'm an NBA player. You should respect me.
Right.
You know, and I believe I can always start. Number two, just real quick side note. Rachel Nichols has found a way to be like the
basketball whisperer.
No, she's the magnet of the basketball drama. People come to her now. She doesn't even be like, to the point where, to the point where she can ask Carmelo that question. That's the kind of question you always want things to be asked. Hey, Melo, last year you said you ain't never coming off the bench. What's up, son? Like straight up, and then he'll answer because everybody respects her enough to be like, yeah, sure, I'll go straight to Rachel and tell her how I feel. That's great.
Seriously, I'm envious. So then he went on to say, but knowing that ahead of time and having those conversations and going game to game and understanding, okay, we might need you to do this tonight. We might need you to do that tonight. I have a clear understanding of what my role is. And then she says, do you feel like if they ask you to come off the bench on a certain night, or if they don't want to close the game with you on a certain night, you could live with that?
She's going further.
Good question.
This is awesome.
I'll react in a second. He said, yeah, I mean, I would have to live with it. That's something I will have to get used to if that was to happen. But the biggest thing for me is just communicate that with me. If it's a group of guys out there that's playing well, coming down the stretch, then we're gonna roll with them. I'm cool with that. So what I like about Rachel Nichols is she's asking really good questions, tough questions, getting the answers that we all want answers to. That's why I respect the crap out of her. I knew that I respected her with her first stint with ESPN. But then, and I'm sorry to turn this into ha-ha or rah-rah Rachel Nichols thing. We'll get back to Carmelo in a second. Does everyone remember Roger Goodell at the podium, I believe it was post-Ray Rice, and Rachel Nichols just obliterated him with journalistic questions?
I don't know.
You do not remember this? Man, this was so good. It was either deflated footballs or the Ray Rice sitch. And she went hard. I mean, like everyone was like, Rachel Nichols for president. Like, it was great. So her journalistic integrity should never, ever be questioned because in a lot of these positions in media, we've seen this previously. So how'd you feel after that game last night? Oh, you put up 35. How can we get you to 37? Oh man, how are you and the coach doing? What's your relationship like with him or her? What have you? The most BS, whatever questions. I am glad that she is being our own mouthpiece because we've seeked out this information for like 2 years now.
It's always obvious when reporters are trying to dance. What happens with politics happens with sports, happens with entertainment.
Yes.
You don't want to hit the wrong trigger because you're going to lose that access. And then they'll go, I mean, think about how many times, we'll go to KD when he sits in front of a gaggle of reporters and goes, man, get out of my face with that. And it could be that same question. If you went up to Carmelo Anthony, be like, Rick Strom, been in this game for years. I know everything about the sport. I'm going to ask you the right questions. You go, so last year, Carmelo, you said that you would never come off the bench. Why are you going to come off the bench now? He'd go, get out of my face. That's what he would say. Because he thinks you're challenging him. I mean, it's different. His assumption is you're challenging him to make him look bad. His assumption to Rachel Nichols is she's asking the question because it makes sense. I'll answer it honestly.
Real quick,
tell her how I feel.
Carmelo coming off the bench, is it gonna last? Is it gonna be, rather not last, is it gonna be successful for Houston?
Yeah, it's always good to have him come off the bench. That's why people want him to come, because he's a starter kind of player, but you want a good surge off the bench. I think that'll work. As far as whether they'll get along well doing it, this thing, everything is based off of results.
Yes.
As I was saying before with Minnesota. If the Rockets are winning and he's coming off the bench and that's his role, he's gonna go, I'm ready for a championship run. He'll do it.
Look, if he accepts the bench role and it leads to the success, which it will, of getting out of the first round, how will he not be like, oh man, this is great?
It's easy.
Yeah.
Because then every once in a while,
going to the conference semis, I'm in.
Yeah, because people who don't know how basketball works, sometimes you come off the bench and then sometimes you finish the game, sometimes you end up playing more minutes than the starter. Just saying.
Alrighty, let us know your thoughts, comment section below, subscribe to TYT Sports. Do you guys want full TYT episodes? Yeah! So download YouTube TV and get a 7-day free week trial.